Really excited to show you guys this one. Painting a wonderland scene. Just like before, we're painting the sky, starting with the light blue and getting darker. I had a little bit of red because I want it to be a little bit of a purpley blue. And that gets darker as it gets higher on the page, like so. You want to make sure you have that nice gradient going even darker. By adding more blue, just a touch of red, and a little bit of black, just a tad. You don't want it to be gray, but you want it to be a little desaturated. And that would be me, looking handsome. So now we're going to be putting in the sun. So I'm going to take that color that I'm pointing to right now, that color, and just add a little bit of white to it. Like so. There's the color that we have. Add a little bit of white so it's just a hair brighter, like so. You want to make like a circle. This will be like the radius of the sun. It gets brighter and brighter as it works towards the center. I'm going to blend it out a bit with my fingers. And I'm going to take that same color and add some more white to it to make it even brighter. And do the same thing. And you don't want to go outside of that radius that we already made. You want to go within that circle of the lighter shade that we did. We don't want to go past it. You want it to get brighter and brighter as it goes towards the center of that circle. Add more white. Just doing the same thing, making smaller circles within the bigger circles, if that makes sense. And right now it's off camera. That's lovely filming skills right there. I'm such a noob at this. But that's what I'm doing. I'm going even brighter. You want to make sure it's this nice blended gradient from lighter shades to the darker base tone that we had. Get a kind of nice fog effect almost. Going even brighter. And gonna make like a, kind of see that haze I'm talking about. That's what you want. Now I just took pure white and put that right in the center. And that's how you get that glowy effect. Kind of like the sun. Or really any light source, really. Actually, it's not pure white. It's just a very, very, very light blue. I'm going to be using pure white here pretty soon, actually. Right about now. Now I'm going to use pure white. And now I'm going to put it in the center. Yeah, that's the pure white that I'm talking about. And you could kind of see how all those other layers we laid down makes it look like it's that light is glowing. You want that nice effect. And that's how you do it. That's how you paint the sun, you guys. Now I'm going to be putting in clouds. So I'm going to take the sky color that we had and add a little bit of gray or black, just to gray it down, and some red. So it's going to be on like a violet side. I'm going to put some clouds in. If you haven't, I did a cloud tutorial on the last video I did on the Sunny Meadows. I have a whole cloud tutorial on that. But same method, just putting in clouds that get larger as they come towards you in the foreground. Now I'm adding it in the top highlights on the top of the cloud from the sky itself, so it's just a brighter version of that color with a little bit more blue, and just painting the tops of the clouds. That's getting some of that light from the sky and leaving the bottoms of the clouds that darker color, like so. Now I'm going even lighter and a little bit more blue, and just emphasizing even more brighter. You just want to build on the lights in the areas where it's getting the light from the sky, which is pretty much any surface that's facing directly up. So in other words, the tops of the clouds. And then I'll be putting in the highlights here. Actually, no. These are still just the skylights. I'm just building more on the gradient. Kind of get that cotton ball effect almost. Just going from light to dark. And you never want to merge the lights with the darks. You want to keep that nice range going. Now we're going to be putting in the highlights. So this is just pure white now. I'm going to be considering the light source, which is the sun, which is facing the right side, or the left side. So I'm gonna just basically put in the highlights on the left side of the clouds, like so, and really makes those clouds pop. And for the clouds that are on the left side of the sun, it'll always be facing the direction of the sun, so you get something like that. So far, it's looking pretty good. Now we're going to be doing the sun rays or glare. Yeah, sun glare. That's what they're called. And basically, I have it drawn out, these little circles. I'm going to take some red. I think I'm going to brighten it up just a tad by adding some white. A little bit of what I added there. I don't even know what I added there. But yeah, it's just a red. I'm going to make like a ring around it. And I'm using a dry brush. So I'm taking that brush and I'm wiping it down with a paper towel. So I just have a little bit of paint on it. Now I'm going to be adding more of that sky color. So it blends in with the sky in the background. So going from that red and transitioning to the sky color that's underneath. So I'm just going to keep adding blue. Going to do the same thing with this one. It's kind of hard to explain, but hopefully this kind of gives you an idea. You just take the color that you want to paint over and add whatever color you want, and just a tad bit lighter. So in this case, I wanted that to be kind of a reddish color, so I took the sky color that I'm painting over top, added a little bit of red, and made it a little bit brighter by adding white. And on that section of the circle, it's overlaying over top of a cloud, so it's going to be a little bit brighter than the cloud color, and just some blue. And I'm going to do the same thing with green. Add some green, and it's going to be overlaying on that cloud, and since that's just white, it's just going to be using just white and green. Won't have to worry about mixing any other colors together. You get that nice kind of sun glare effect. Doing the same thing, but with green now. You could do it with any color, because it's basically refraction from the sun. Doing yellow. Since that's yellow over top of that blue sky there, add a little bit of blue. Same thing with the cloud. Just since the cloud is white, add some white with that yellow color. And it gives it that translucent, transparent look. You could like see through it, you know. And just making more of them here and there. It was quite a bit of work. So those two are blending together. So I'm adding the blue and the red. If those two circles merge, you blend those two colors together in the areas that are merged. And you get that color that looks appropriate. I'm just adding some rays here and there. Kind of like that nice effect you get when you get like a glare on like a camera or something. I think it turned out pretty decent. I think it could have been a little better, but overall I think it turned out pretty well. Now we're going to be doing the distant mountains and stuff and land. So I'm just taking the sky color, which is that purple color, having it a little bit darker, and adding some black to gray it down. So you want it to be just slightly darker than the sky, so that atmosphere effect, like so. And as it gets closer to the foreground, it go even darker. Add a little bit of yellow because I'll actually desaturate it. Add a little bit of red too. Get kind of this brownish color. And then add some blue. Because the rocks are going to be like this reddish brown color. But since it's far off in the distance, it's going to be the atmosphere effect. So I added some blue to it. And just want to make sure it was darker than the previous layer. Doing the same thing, going even darker. And there's going to be less blue in it because it's closer to you. So, and it'll be darker. I think I already said that, but you know. Doing the same thing, just making sure I get the colors right. The mountains are also getting bigger because it's getting closer to you. And you could already see how it's has that depth that I'm going for. It looks real complicated, but it's pretty easy to do. Once you get the hang of it, it just takes a little bit of practice. Then I'm just going to put some kind of random rocks here and there. And in the negative spaces that you see is going to be some snow and stuff. But just put in some rocks. That's what it looks like so far. Now I'm going to be actually putting in the snow. So it's the same color as the sky just about. So it's just that light blue with a little bit of red to make it like a periwinkle / purple-ish color. And I'm just laying it down in the spaces I haven't painted yet. And even snow gets slightly darker as it gets closer to you. So it's going to be even deeper shade of that blue, purple, periwinkle color. Just laying down some paint. It's looking pretty good so far. Then add a little bit of warmth to it by adding a little bit of red on the areas that's not going to be getting any shadow. Like so. Now I'm lightening up the snow, and this is catching the skylight, so it's just any surface that's facing directly up, like flat surfaces, will be catching the skylight. And so you want to preserve those lights and darks. Painting a road, just took the snow color and added a little bit of brown. In this case, red, yellow, and a little bit of black with the snow color that we had and some white to lighten it up. Now I'm going to do the highlights of the sky on the snow. Just like before, just building on the lights. Get that nice gradients. So just like before, any surface that's facing flat or even at like a slight angle, we'll be getting that light from the sky, which is what we're putting in now. And you don't want to go over the deep darks areas that we have, that deep blue color. Kind of want to leave some negative spaces to give it some depth, like maybe like animals walk through. It's not completely flat, so there's still like shadow areas. The left side is going to be getting some, and then the right side is going to be left in a little more darkness, since that's facing a different direction away from the light source. And you get that nice effect. It creates that form that you're looking for. Gonna do some more on the road. Since that area is flat, it's just gonna be straight skylight snow color. And I could kind of decide which areas of this part of the ground is gonna be flat. Whenever I put that sky color down, it's going to imply that it's facing directly up. So I could give you an idea of how to create different forms and stuff like that. Just looking for areas that will be, facing that direction. Blend it in a little bit with my finger, just to get a better gradient. Then we're going to be going even brighter. And this will actually be the sunlight. So in this case, the sun is on the upper left. So any angle that's facing the upper left is going to be illuminated by the sunlight. So it's going to be very bright. But I'm also wanting it to blend in to give it that transition as it turns away from the sun. Like so. Just it's really starting to look like snow now. Looks like kind of like powder almost, Like you could just make a snow angel. And I don't know, I'm kind of rambling at this point. But get some sunlight there. But there's also a shadow cast from that mountain. So it's not going to be all in sunlight. It's looking pretty good. So now we're going to be putting in the lightest parts of the snow, which is just going to be pure white now. So down here is going to be painted, but as you can see, there's a shadow cast here, but it's still casting some of that skylight but it won't be getting any sunlight from the shadow of that big cliff there. So we won't be putting any highlights in that shadow area. So we're going to be putting it in some highlights, some bright white, considering the light source. Any angle facing that towards the sun is going to be illuminated by the light. So just considering angles and just putting it down. Kind of like before. And you still want to preserve. So now that highlight that we did before is now the shadow. It's kind of weird. But you just kind of want to preserve those lighter shadows as well. Give it that, you don't want it just to be one flat color. See how I left some negative space? You want to give it, that's what really gives it form. Putting some highlights right there, but don't want to go too far in because it's in the shadow of that mountain, just at the base there. It always helps to take a step back and kind of look at how it looks just from a distance, because you can kind of see the whole painting as a whole, because you get really used to looking at details and stuff. But now we're going to be painting in the rocks, so it's going to be fun. That's me again. Handsome. I'm just kidding you guys. Yeah, so I had to edit this because copyright issues. So I had to mute it, so that's why I'm kind of just silent and not saying anything. I'm actually just talking over myself. But we're going to make the highlights of, or I'm sorry, not the highlights, but the shadow lights of the rock. So this is the part of the rock that's catching light from the sky. So you take that color of the rock that I'm painting over top of, add a little bit of the sky color, which is in this case is that blue-purple color, and add some white. You want it to be brighter than the color you're painting over. And it'll be illuminating the parts of the rocks that's facing directly up. So kind of like that. Overall, it's looking pretty good, I think. Now we're going to be painting the part of the rock that's going to be retrieving light from the sun. And since that's a warm color, and the rocks are kind of a warm color as well, mix kind of this brown and a little bit of black to gray it down. My hands are in the way. Add a little bit more red because I made it a little bit too gray. Like so, that's about the color that I'm looking for. Considering the light source again, so any surface that's facing the sun will be illuminated with this color. So I'm just putting it in. Thought that nice orange color looks really nice because orange is actually complementary to blue, which is a lot of that blue is in the snow and the sky and stuff, so it works out really well. It harmonizes pretty nicely. But yeah, just creating those edges, leaving the shadowed areas alone, and just painting the surfaces that are facing the sun. Like that right there. Takes a little bit of practice, but you'll get it eventually. It's a lot of fun. Putting some more light areas on this side. We'll be getting the sun. It's looking pretty good. Just putting it all in the areas that I think needs it on the left side of all the rocks, just going here and there, looking at all the places that would be getting light. Like even the top right there would. Once you start putting in those colors, you can kind of see form and get an idea of where the angles are and stuff. Use that as a reference. Just putting some highlights on those little stones there on the left side. You always consider your light source every time, no matter what you're painting. That's kind of what it's looking like so far. Those rocks right there won't have any highlights from the sun since it's in the shadow. But there will be skylight. Oh, no, sorry, my bad. Snow. I'm putting in snow. So there's going to be some snow in like the crevices of the rocks and stuff and on the surface. And so I'm just kind of dabbing it in pieces here and there. And since it's in the shadow, it's kind of like that sky color, the deeper blue colored snow, not the pure white snow. Now we're going to be doing the cracks in the rocks, and so it looks black, but it's just a very, very dark brown. I'm just putting in some cracks, and this is the darkest. It's called the occlusion shadow, and it's the darkest part of a shadow. It's where there's hardly any light going in because of like the crevices and stuff. So that's kind of what we're creating. Just kind of want to go along in the form of the rock. This takes a little bit of practice. We just kind of want to see the overall form of the rock and kind of go along the form. Almost like you're painting around it, you know? And you don't want to cover the whole thing, just cracks here and there. Because you don't want to lose all the cool lights and shadows that we established. And it's turned out pretty well. It's starting to look like a snowy canyon, which is kind of what I was going for. It's very tedious at times, depending on how many cracks and stuff you want to put into it, but this one didn't take too long. But really enjoyed it, and it gives it that extra amount of depth. And my hand is out of the frame again. That's absolutely lovely. It's beautiful. But doing the same thing, just adding cracks. It's like one of those things that's really fun at first, but then it starts to get kind of tedious, you know? I'm just like, I kind of want to get this done. If you ever feel that way, just take a break. Walk away from it, because I've learned if you get tired of a painting and you just keep pushing through, you just kind of tend to rush, and then whenever you rush, that it never turns out good. I've learned that the hard way. Now I'm blending the snow in with that road. Just took that road color and added a little bit of the snow color, and then even more blue of the sky color. And it kind of has a nice transition, like so. Go even brighter. More of that snow color. Turned out to be a little too gray, so I added a little bit more blue. Just kind of overlaying on top of it. Going even brighter and just kind of working my way to where the colors blend together. I'll be doing the same thing on the right side of the road here in a sec. Just still working on the left side. Here we go. And just touching up, putting in some snow. This part of the snow is being lit up by the sun, so it'll be just that pure white color. And some snow on that side of the canyon. And now I'm putting in cracks on the ground, kind of the same way that we did on the canyon. Just dabbing little dark spots to imply like shadows of rocks and cracks and things like that. Then I'm going to take a lighter color of that road color and just kind of go over it, just the tops. And then you want to leave the base at a darker shade. Eventually I'll go over with highlights, like so. Once I do the same thing on the shadow side, I'll be doing the same color, but it's in the shadow, so it'll be blue from the skylight and also darker than the highlights on the side being lit up by the sun, like so. Doing the same thing. And it's just about done. And that's the Winter Wonderland. I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe.